Calvin Moore is an old friend and is here to visit with us again about the Community Food Bank. And it's good to have you here, partner.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure when you can take time to visit with us. What is the Community Food Bank? Explain it for us so that folks who might think they know really have a complete understanding.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'm happy to come on and talk about this really important issue. The Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma is one of two major food banks in the state of Oklahoma, and really our mission is to eradicate food insecurity for the 24 counties and individuals in those 24 counties in eastern Oklahoma that we serve. Someone asked me today, what is the difference between hunger and food insecurity? And what I like to say is we all experience hunger at some point. We've all gotten hungry. But the big difference between being hungry and being food insecure is that when you're food insecure, you do not know where your next meal is coming from. And organizations like ours, like the Community Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma, really focus in on gathering resources from public sources, from private philanthropy, from corporate operations, and using those resources to purchase and secure and procure food for families who are in need throughout those counties. We've been doing this business for 41, 42 years, and we're going strong, and the mission has never been more vital and more needed than now.
You know, it's hard for me to recognize this, and I know that we have a lot of viewers that might not really be aware of it. Every single school district in Oklahoma has within its confines, children who go to bed hungry every night, and they get up the next morning hungry.
Yes.
And were it not for school, they'd have no food at all.
Yes. That's a very important point. You know, 1 in 6 children in the state of Oklahoma are food insecure. That means that they go home trying to figure out where they're going to get their next meal. If it were not for school programs, and we've been a big advocate for universal free breakfast and lunch in the schools, because we know how important those school programs are in fighting back hunger and food insecurity. Unfortunately, yeah, that's a great picture too, by the way. Unfortunately, the state of Oklahoma is number 4 in the nation and leads the pack in terms of food insecurity. And the congressional district, the 2nd congressional district, which makes up most of our projected service area along the eastern side of Oklahoma, believe it or not, Sam, is the most food insecure district in the entire United States for young children.
You're kidding.
That is correct. And so, you know, when I first read that statistic, I said, well, this is our calling card. If you want to talk about our mission and talk about why our mission is so important, here it is. This is the tagline. This is where we plant our flag in the fight against hunger, and we've got to do it every day.
And race does not enter into it. I mean, it's black, white, yellow, brown. You pick a color, that child's hungry.
Hunger does not discriminate, and I want to go back to a point that you made with regards to the schools. You know, when our kids go to school hungry, they perform at a lower rate. It's much more difficult for them to learn. It's much more difficult for them to maintain behavior in their classroom, and it's much more difficult for them to finish out their coursework or do course completion. And so food really is essential. It is the source of life. It is a source of progress and process for all of us, and we've all got to be involved in the fight against hunger.
And before you go pointing a finger at the schools for bad performance, perhaps you ought to look at the reasons why.
Absolutely.
Really investigate it and see how many of those children that are performing poorly or not up to standard, how many of them are hungry?
And we have the data. The data shows us and continually tells a consistent story about hunger, about performance, and about achievement. And it's all connected. Food is connected directly to student academic performance and overall achievement.
What can the average person do to help you out?
It's my favorite question. I love to hear it and I love to answer it. We actually serve, and this is something that I didn't say earlier, but we actually serve communities alongside 400 other partners throughout that 24 county area. So all of our 400 partners either purchase or get donated food from the food bank at a very low, highly discounted rate, and then redistribute that food through food pantries, through church feeding programs, through civic clubs and organizations. And so I would say to anyone listening to the show that it's important that you get involved with the local food pantry. We also have a branch down in McAllister, Oklahoma. Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma has a food branch down there. You can go to the website, okfoodbank.org, and figure out where your local food pantry is, where your local food bank partner is, and partner with that organization to help distribute food, make donations, get involved with the movement against hunger. And it's really easy to do. It's okfoodbank.org. You can key in a zip code. And if you can't go out and volunteer, because we have opportunities for corporate groups to come out and volunteer, church groups to come out and volunteer, individuals to come out and volunteer. If you can't volunteer, cut a check to the Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma.
You betcha.
Help us philanthropically fulfill our mission and serve your neighbors in need.
You know, I was just checking your hair, man. I don't see much gray there, which tells me that you're doing pretty darn good.
Well,
I mean, you need more, but
my wife likes to say there's more gray there when I let it grow out. So I keep it cropped pretty low. I'm an old military guy, so I believe in keeping it high and tight.
You have to have in your hip pocket a lot of horror stories. One could not walk the path you walk and come out of it without scar tissue. What gets to you more than anything else?
I'll tell you, and there's I get asked this question too, and there's horror on one side of the coin, but the bigger side of the other side of the coin is hope. And what gets to me really is seeing children who are in need, because they're the most vulnerable. And to see those children who don't have the food that they need to live and to thrive and to be happy and to be productive and to achieve at their highest potential. And that's why I always say that food is life, it's essential, and we ought to all be involved in this fight. But I really see hope. I see inspiration in the faces of the people who I work with whom are serving the community and sacrificing of themselves to make sure that people's needs get met.
Calvin, we got about a minute and a half. I want to emphasize something that you touched on earlier, and that's the need for donations of any amount that would help you keep the folks out there in need alive.
Yes.
Where do they send the money?
okfoodbank.org. If you go into that website, there's a donate button right on every one of the pages. So if you scroll through the website, no matter what, that donate button really follows you. If you press that donate button, you'll be led to a form that will allow you to make a donation via credit card or put in your information so that one of our folks at the food bank can reach out to you to get you more information. And you can make a donation of any kind: cash, inventories, land, stock. You can talk to our
old cars.
You can talk to our plan giving officer. I have a bequest in my will and in my trust that will make a donation after my time here on earth is done. And so I encourage everybody to do that as well. It's a wonderful way to structure a long-term gift to the food bank, so your good work can continue even when we're not here.
I might donate my brother. He's worthless, but it might do you some good.
Have him come down. We'll be happy to volunteer along with him.
Calvin Moore, thank you, my friend. And
thank you so much
for what you do. And tell your wife, don't worry about the white hair. Just a passing fancy, all right?
I tell her I'm still handsome no matter what.
There you go. Dig in for it.
That's
buddy.
it.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about change right here after this.